Hello everyone! In this video, we're looking at games that have left their mark on the gaming world and that you should play at least once in your life. Some are memorable for their story, some for their gameplay, and some for the worlds they created. These titles are among the games that every gamer should definitely experience. Now let's start our list of games you must play at least once in your life. Batman Arkham Knight is less about a superpower fantasy and more about preparation and control. Observing the environment before engaging in combat, memorizing enemy locations, and waiting for the right moment form the basis of the gameplay. The combat system has reached its most fluid form in the series. Attacking, retaliating, and controlling the crowd without disrupting the rhythm are entirely in the player's hands. Gotham is not just a backdrop in this game, but a dark and menacing area where you must learn to move. Soaring through the city, observing from above, and planning truly makes you feel like Batman. The Batmobile is a significant part of the game. While it may not appeal to everyone, it conveys the scale and technological aspects of the city. The story focuses on Batman's mental burden and loneliness, which makes the narrative more personal. Arkham Knight clearly demonstrates why this series is special, both through its gameplay and its atmosphere. Ryse Son of Rome is one of those games that manages to be more of a memorable game than just a good game. While playing, you realize it doesn't try to teach you deep systems. It throws you directly into the harshness of ancient Rome. The combat system is simple but consciously designed. Timing, rhythm, and finishing at the right moment form the foundation of the game. These mechanics don't become complicated in the long run, but they keep the game's pace lively. The story isn't full of surprises. It follows a line of revenge and loyalty, but it carries this with a powerful presentation. Thanks to the crowded arenas, sound design, and visual details, the Roman world feels authentic. The game is short, but because it's not drawn out, it doesn't lose its impact. Ryse Son of Rome deserves its place on this list as one of those games that can be finished in a single sitting and shows how cinematic action should feel. God of War's difference is that it doesn't constantly make you feel how powerful you are. Kratos is already powerful. The game doesn't try to prove that. The real issue is how you use that power and when you stop. The combat system is built precisely on this. It's not logical to charge into every enemy. You need to read your surroundings and wait for the right moment. Throwing and recalling the Leviathan axe isn't just a cool trick, it's a fundamental part of the gameplay. The world design follows the same understanding. It's not an open world where everything is laid bare, it opens up if you're curious. The story doesn't shout, explain, or force. Conversations, silences, and small moments along the way draw you into the game. God of War is a game that doesn't strive to be epic, but makes its presence felt as you play. When you finish, what stays with you isn't the scenes, but the journey you experienced.
We hold the perimeter until we hear otherwise. Keep an eye out in case...
The Last of Us Part 2 is not a game that easily wins you over, but rather one that leaves a lasting impression through its experiences. Its story doesn't unfold like a typical sequel. Instead of following expected directions, it leaves the player grappling with unsettling questions. The narrative, beginning with Ellie, evolves over time to force a change in perspective. In terms of gameplay, it's more liberating than the first game. Stealth, positioning, and environmental utilization are far more crucial in combat. Every encounter feels dangerous because resources are limited and enemies leave no room for error. Technically, the game remains very strong. Animations, sound design, and atmosphere play a major role in conveying the story. It doesn't try to please everyone, but it boldly does so. It's one of those games that leaves you thinking, I need to digest this, rather than, I enjoyed it.
Oh crap!
When you sit down to play Uncharted 4, you more or less know what you're going to play. adventure, action, and plenty of dialogue. But this game is a bit calmer, a bit more mature than previous games in the series. Nathan Drake's story truly feels conclusive this time. He's chasing a great treasure, but it's not just about the treasure. It's about the brotherhood, past choices, and whether he can move on with his life. The gameplay is fluid and doesn't tire you out. The combat, climbing sections, and puzzles are well balanced. Nothing is unnecessarily drawn out. The controls are comfortable, the action scenes are cinematic, but you're still in control while playing. Visually, the game is still very strong. Each level gives you the feeling of being in a different place. When you finish it, you say, "I'm glad I played it," because this game truly shows how a series should be properly concluded. Days Gone is one of those games that was somewhat unfairly overlooked upon its release. You feel this in the first few hours, the story unfolds slowly, Deacon St. John is distant, and it takes time to get into the world. But with a little patience, the game's true theme emerges: loneliness, loss, and the routine of survival. The open world design is full of classic quest markers, but the motorcycle mechanics take the game to a different level. Searching for fuel, repairing the engine, and knowing the risks of venturing out at night keep the tension constantly high. The freaker hordes are the breaking point. Even escaping is difficult if you enter without a plan. As the story progresses, Deacon's motivations become clearer, and the character becomes more human than he initially thought. It has technical issues and repetitive quests. It doesn't hide that. But with its atmosphere, music, and horde battles, it offers an experience that rewards the patient player. Rise of the Tomb Raider is the game where Lara Croft truly transforms into an adventurer. Here, Lara is no longer just someone trying to survive. She becomes a character who knows what she's doing, takes risks, and pushes her limits. Exploration and preparation are central to the gameplay. Observing the surroundings, gathering resources, and upgrading equipment before venturing into an area are all part of the game's natural flow. Tombs are particularly prominent in this game. Puzzles are longer, require more interaction with the environment, and solve them truly give a sense of accomplishment. Combat is more controlled than in the series. Stealth is always possible and rewarding. The story isn't overly complex, but Lara's motivations are clear and understandable. The game manages to balance action and exploration, rarely losing its pace. Rise of the Tomb Raider is one of the most established and balanced games in the modern Tomb Raider series.
Got a KIA!
What sets Ghost of Tsushima apart is its ability to seamlessly integrate gameplay and story. At its core, Jin Sakai, despite being raised as a samurai, is forced to question everything he knows in order to survive. The combat system directly supports this idea. One-on-one samurai duels are built on honor, while stealth gameplay makes you feel the gradual erosion of that honor. As a player, you are left grappling with this dilemma. The stance system requires a different approach to each enemy type, making combat a matter of focus rather than reflexes. The open world is kept simple. Instead of constantly distracting you, the game allows you to progress without disrupting its rhythm. The story doesn't chase after grand surprises, but the transformation it portrays is clear and memorable. Ghost of Tsushima is one of those rare games where gameplay and story speak the same language. The first thing you notice when you enter Skyrim is the feeling that the world is there for you. It doesn't dictate what you should do. It simply opens the door and says, go whichever way you want. You can climb mountains, delve into dark caves, or skip the town of Shadowmire altogether. Nothing is wrong. The freedom to develop your character is truly vast. You determine what kind of dragon hunter you will be. The main storyline is strong, but what sticks in most players' minds are the small stories they find in side quests. The world is so rich that even a character you talk to in a small village can later connect to another event. When the atmosphere, landscapes, and music combine, time flies by in Skyrim without you even noticing. Its high replayability is also one of the reasons why this game remains unforgettable to this day. In Detroit Become Human, you progress more through your decisions than your reflexes. The game constantly forces you to make choices, and the consequences of those choices are truly felt. You follow the stories of 3 different android characters, each with a completely different perspective on the world. This prevents the narrative from progressing in a single linear fashion. Throughout the story, right or wrong isn't always clear. Most of the time, there are simply decisions for which you must bear the consequences. The gameplay is simple, but this doesn't feel like a drawback, as the main focus is on the story. The visual quality and facial animations convey emotion well, making it easy to connect with the characters. When you finish the game, what stays with you more than the scenes are the decisions you made. It leaves you wanting to revisit it because it makes you wonder where different choices might have led. What makes The Witcher 3 special is the way it makes you feel the story it tells. In Geralt of Rivia's world, the line between good and evil is almost never clear, and the game constantly reminds you of this through your decisions. The main story is strong, but the real impact comes from the side quests. A seemingly simple task can lead to unexpected consequences. The gameplay mechanics settle over time, especially the sword fights and the potion-making system, which fit the game's pace. The open world is full, but not exhausting. Exploration happens not like a quest, but out of curiosity. Visually, it was far ahead of its time, and it still retains its atmosphere today. Character writing is one of the game's strongest aspects. Even many of the side characters you encounter are memorable. After playing The Witcher 3, your expectations for RPGs unconsciously rise a little. Metro Exodus marks a significant turning point for those familiar with the series. The narrow, dark subway tunnels of previous games are replaced by wider, semi-open spaces. However, the game doesn't lose that familiar tension. Ammunition is still valuable, resources are limited, and engaging in every conflict isn't wise. Therefore, the game forces you to proceed thoughtfully. The story isn't told in grand pronouncements. It unfolds through stops along the train journey, team conversations, and small moments. The changing seasons constantly transform the environment. Weapon modification and equipment management are simple but functional, supporting the gameplay. The atmosphere is the game's true strength. The silence, abandoned structures, and nature create a constant sense of solitude. Metro Exodus offers a slow but impactful experience that focuses more on the journey and the setting than on action. Hogwarts Legacy is one of the games that best embodies the idea of truly experiencing the wizarding world. From the moment you start exploring Hogwarts for the first time, it's clear what the game aims to achieve. The school's interior, classrooms, corridors, and hidden areas are incredibly meticulously designed. You spend time not just doing quests, but simply wandering around. The magic system is fluid and satisfying, becoming even more enjoyable as the conflicts progress. Creating your own character and becoming a part of this world makes the game feel personal. While the story doesn't offer huge surprises, it keeps the sense of curiosity alive and progresses in harmony with the universe. Although the open world aspect feels familiar at times, the atmosphere largely balances this out. Thanks to the music, visual design, and overall atmosphere, the game successfully immerses you in the wizarding world. When you finish the game, what stays with you isn't the quests, but the time you spent at Hogwarts. Playing Cyberpunk 2077 today is a completely different experience compared to when it was first released. Many people were hesitant about the game due to the technical issues at launch, but this has changed significantly over time. Night City is still not a perfect open world, but its atmosphere and feel are very strong. The city is crowded, noisy, and unsettling, and that's exactly the kind of world the game aims to portray. On the story side, instead of grand heroic feats, the focus is on characters struggling to survive within a system they can't control. These experiences aren't just a simple main quest. Many of the side quests are even more memorable than the main story. With the 2.0 update, gameplay has become more balanced, and the skill system and combat have become more satisfying. Cyberpunk 2077 is still not flawless, but its world and narrative make it a game worth experiencing at least once. The most noticeable thing about Red Dead Redemption 2 is that it doesn't rush you. You're not constantly expected to run around or jump from mission to mission. You can ride your horse for a long time, explore the surroundings, visit a town, and wander around without doing anything. Arthur Morgan's story fits this tranquility. It doesn't elaborate on his experiences. They gradually sink in as you play. The gameplay is slow-paced but not uncomfortably so. The weapon handling, combat, and exploration feel realistic. Most of the side missions are memorable because they don't just feel like work. The graphics are still very strong, but the real issue is the atmosphere. When you finish the game, you remember the small moments you experienced on the road, not the missions. That's why this game is the kind that you'll feel incomplete without playing at least once.
To the camp! Look out!